in Lillehammer and repeated in Nagano. From France, the irrepressible Philippe Candeloro. And a Ricky Martin medley.
Likes to include everyone in every performance, even the judges, even the cameramen. Attention, it's time to deliver some goods. Triple toe. Triple toe, but he's probably still getting over that rush of adrenaline from talking to that girl in front of her boyfriend. Triple loop, nicely landed. He breaks the wall. There is no wall between the ice and his performance and the audience. It's just amazing how he brings everybody out. And you know that the costume only lasts so long before it comes off.
It has the appearance of ready to tear.
Yeah. All right, ladies, get your dollar bills ready.
Keep in mind, this is his technical program.
Triple Lutz. Turn out of the landing. Pleasing as this number is, it's going to be really interesting to see what the judges do with it because he does not skate that much. A lot of holes, backflip here, nicely done. A lot of crowd-pleasing moments, a lot of focus on the performance itself, but not a lot of skating.
Teammate Surya Bonaly looks on. From Cologne, France, Philippe Candeloro, 47 points. And on the ice right now, twice a United States national champion. He won those titles in 1993 and 1994. Here is Scott Davis.
Double or triple axel, looks like a double. Beautifully landed double axel. Struggling a little bit in the warm-up. Sometimes when you get a little nervous, don't get into your knees as much as you normally do and it throws off your timing. Very difficult triple here, triple Lutz. Going into it a little bit slow. Couldn't hang on to the landing. Next triple flip. Again, not skating as fast as I'm normally used to watching him skate. Double flip. A little more speed and a little more attack would probably make those triple jumps happen. Great spinner.
Yo quiero cantar, San Benito, enséñame el sol. Santa Lucía, la quiero mirar. Yo te lo pido, San Corazón. Santa paciencia, Santa piedad, Santa Rufina, la quiero.
Nicely done. Double toe loop.
Se acabó, solo con ella bailo yo. Por arriba.
Spin into triple toe, doubled it. Little rush on the takeoff. You got a little past it. Scott's strength into his spins. Watch the speed and the position of this scratch spin. Just cranks it.
He has been touring with Greece on ice in a starring role in his new life as a professional skater. That number choreographed by his coach, Galina Smievskaya. Scott now to 46.8. And on the ice next, former United States national champion. He won that in 1996 and a world bronze medalist.
1998 World Professional Champion, Rudy Galindo.
Now living in Reno, Nevada. Having moved there from his longtime home in San Jose. Here is Rudy Galindo, and the music performed by the Stanford Choir and the Fleet Street Choir. Song made famous by Bette Midler.
Watching him today, it's just amazing how well he rotates his jumps. Triple axel, single. I'm sure he'll be disappointed in that because he was really rotating that triple axel today. Triple becomes a single when your body realizes it's just a little out of position. Instant reflex makes it go into a single.
I say,
triple toe, triple toe. Amazing how he can rotate those triples with very little speed, and you think they come out of nowhere. Double, just throws in a triple toe for the heck of it to kind of make up for the mistake. Wow. Just seems to be backing off everything just a little bit. Not attacking the jumps like he did in practice today. Good speed and position, this combination spin. Flexibility.
Celebrated his 30th birthday this fall, and he performs to music sung by the Fleet Street Choir from Stanford University. And he recorded that at Rudy's request. Rudy Galindo and The Rose. Next on the ice, representing the world team, he won gold in Lillehammer in 1994. Had a really frustrating amateur career in the aftermath of that. Bothered for a number of years by groin injury. Now professional. Here from St. Petersburg is Alexei Urmanov and a medley of Georgian songs.
Jump triple axel, swish. Man, you can really tell the pro skaters that are coming right off of their eligible careers, these jumps are demanded of them. That was pure. That was so pure. Triple flip, speed, amazing speed going in. Russian skaters really like to stay in the eligible world. They realize, you know, athletically it just doesn't get any better than that. Triple sow, double toe combination. So for Alexei to be now turning pro, it means he really feels that he's done everything he possibly could in the eligible Olympic World Championship ranks. And now he wants to explore a different side of his skating, but it's always a really difficult decision for especially in my opinion, Russian skaters to make. They love staying eligible. But it's nice that he's here in the professional world because he'll really bring another level of technical excellence like he's showing right now. Triple toe, so easy. Oh, man.
He was denied the opportunity of defending his gold medal because of the groin injury we spoke of. That injury occurred at the '97 World Championships in Lausanne. He had to withdraw after the short program, and it lingered. He did not compete in Nagano.
It just seemed like he kept coming back too soon before it was really mended, and he kept re-injuring and re-injuring. But what a talent.
He was also fighting a couple of youngsters named Yaganin and Kulik from Russia who could skate pretty decently.
Those guys will turn you pro in no time. I had a couple of guys named Brian.
One of them here today. And the other, Orser, remains a good friend. Well, what a nice effort by 25-year-old Alexei Urmanov. Guys, now, the 1988 Olympic gold medalist and the real leader of this United States team. Here is Brian Boitano, and he will skate to the music of Jim Chappell. The piece is called Gone.
And Team USA really needs this program if they're going to stay close. They need Brian to really deliver the goods. aspect of Brian's skating that could really help him against an Alexei Urmanov is the fact that he's fully developed as a professional skater. He has all the intangibles, the presence on the ice, the flow from one move to the next, the choreography. But again, being the technical program, you really need all the stuff. Tano triple Lutz coming up. Watch the arm go over the head. Beautiful. Normally this would be a triple axel, but with that nagging back injury that Brian's been suffering from a long time, nice easy double, huge. Triple toe into triple toe. Triple toe, a little crooked, double toe. No way you could have done that triple. The second triple toe after the first one, he just a little tilted. You gotta be straight over those feet. Triples left. This is one of them. Triple Salchow. So easy for him. Controlling the landing. Last triple, triple loop. Beautiful and right in front of the judges. Years after he won his Olympic gold medal, and he's skating as well as he ever has.
He's a consummate professional.
And that double
representing the world team and skating to the music of Tracy Chapman is Kurt Brown.
If you wait for me, then I'll come for you. Although I have traveled far.
That's a phenomenal skater. Just a phenomenal skater. What he does with his feet, how he feels every note of music, like the size of this double axel, just almost too big. And the triple sow, wow.
If you think of me, if you miss me once in a while, then I'll return to you. I'll return and fill that space in your heart. Remembering your touch, your kiss, your warmth.
Beautiful triple toe there. Another beautiful triple toe. To another beautiful triple toe. Wow.
Oh, I long for you, and I have desire to be with you wherever you are. Remembering your touch, your kiss, your warmth.
Triple loopy double. That's the most difficult jump in this program. He needed it. He wanted to compete with Alexei and Brian.
Back to you.
Actually, his teammate is Alexei. He just wants to compete with him in marks. Add to the team score.
Together again. It would feel so good to be in your arms. Where all my journeys end. You can make a promise. If it's one that you can keep, I vow to come for you.
Very difficult here. Spiral. All those steps into triple sow and a little over rotated. It's hard to control that rotation when you enter the jump rotating.
Kurt Browning, he is skating to the music of Tracy Chapman, the song called The Promise. First up for the world team. She won a world championship in 1994 in her native land of Japan. Now a resident of the United States in Lake Orion, Michigan. Here is Yuka Sato.
I was holding up your letters, unpacking winter clothes, searching for my hat. I thought I'd left it by the door, so I tore around the room like a bird without a head. I saw your picture waving back at me from underneath the bed.
Beautiful, high, smooth double axel.
When all I had was a hatful of stars, the one I always treasured, the one that you.
She never ceases to amaze me, the way that she just has the carriage and the line and the elegance, speed, so many good things about her skating. Important combination here, triple toe, double toe. Well done.
In my hatful of stars, in my hatful of stars, trying to live in the present, but I keep tripping on the past. Finding out reality where clarity comes in drips and drabs. No, we never had the time.
Yuka recently started skating pairs with her husband, American pair skater Jason Dungeon. And I was always so worried on how that would affect her technique, especially on the triple loop. They do a throw triple loop as a pair team, and it hasn't affected it at all. Wow, that was pure.
Quite observant of you. And she's really concentrating more on pairs now than she is her singles career. She and Jason married last June.
It's amazing how far she's come as a pair skater. Triple sow, and how beautiful she is as a single skater. This is so good. I haven't seen her skate with this lightness and flow in several years. This one's special. Speed and position on this camel change camel.
If you could see me now, you would have seen far. Yeah, you should have seen the magic in my head full of stars.
Isn't that terrific?
Flawless.
Well, it's kind of a signature piece for Yuka Sato. Mickey Holland sang the style. Here is Tanya Kwiatkowski.
USA has a little bit of an uphill battle. They're behind by 50.4, so that means that Tanya's going to have to skate 4/10 above perfect to tie. And what an exciting position for her to be in, skating in this event. Kristi Yamaguchi and Tara Lipinski. But the USA team needs a good performance out of her. Her opening jump combination, the most difficult in her program. Triple Lutz double toe. Triple Lutz. It's a little shorter rotation, tilted a little bit back in the air, and when you tilt it back, it's impossible to save.
It's always so surprising. I love you, but the rest of my day, it's a mystery. How you ever came to me when told me bruise like bruise. It was serious words. Like the ticking of a clock, two hearts beat as one. But I never understand.
Picking up speed for her next triple, a triple toe loop. Good speed into this. Little tight on the takeoff, but she did it. She throws a double toe to have a combination.
It's always so surprising when love means
A lot of guts. Whenever you miss the first most difficult element in your program, it's so hard to come back. Triple toe was very important. Last jump, a double axel.
Kwiatkowski, graduate of Baldwin-Wallace College like Yuka, married last summer.
Fire 10-time French national champion.
And on the ice now, she represents the world team, 25 years of age and a native of France, though now a resident of Las Vegas, Nevada. Here is longtime world competitor Surya Bonaly. And she will skate to music from the movie Under Fire.
Skates with a lot of speed. Triple toe, triple toe. Always the first one on the ice, always the last one off. It's amazing what she can do in the air.
And improvisational.
At times. Triple Lutz here, the toughest jump in this program. A little slow. Double. Skaters might be feeling a little pressure here. You see a lot of the skaters are stalking their jumps a little bit, kind of going into them a little slower and a little more cautiously than normal. A lot of times when they had a great performance, they attack everything and they go for it, and there's a lot of confidence and speed. A lot of the skaters seem to be backing off just a little bit. Nice spin here. Great combination of moves right here. Spiral, just ramp, 1 foot, boom, triple sow. Surya's had a lot of experience skating in front of hundreds and hundreds of audiences, and you can really see that she's developed a lot of crowd-pleasing skills and focus. Skating with Philippe Candeloro quite a bit, but helps in that regard. I think the professional world suits her a lot better than the eligible world did. What she does the best. A lot of these more acrobatic moves that are illegal in eligible competition.
Well, she kissed the amateur world goodbye in a memorable fashion at the Olympics in Japan when she performed a backflip in front of the judges.
That was basically her saying, I'm moving on now. And here it is right here. Watch the position in the air. you can only do in the pros.
Now 25. Still lovely to watch. Here's Surya Bonaly. In 1992, she won that title in Albertville, France. Here is Kristi Yamaguchi, skating to the music from Carlos Santana and Rob Thomas.
Yamaguchi, like almost everybody else in the country, I got addicted to this song this summer, and I always thought like Kurt Browning or maybe like a Stephen Cousins or Brian Orser, and she comes up and she goes, guess what I'm skating to? I never thought of it for a girl. Watch this. It's really well choreographed, and it's perfect for Kristi Yamaguchi. Kristi's best triple jump coming up right here. Triple flip. Technique. A little bit quick in the takeoff. Maybe got a little excited about the new choreography. Doubled it. It's rare to see her make a mistake. Triple toe loop, double toe, no, triple toe on its own. Great sequence here. Jump double axel. Yeah.
First appearance in Ice War since 1995 for Kristi. Third overall. And the song called Smooth. 4 Olympic gold medalists. Here is Oksana Baiul, recently celebrated her 22nd birthday. Life has not gone as smoothly for Oksana as it has for Kristi Yamaguchi. Here's Oksana, now living in Richmond, Virginia. And the music performed by Cher.
Seeing her today in practice, it was the first time I've seen her this relaxed and easygoing and happy for a very long time. Setting up for a Lutz right here. The beauty in practice. Beautiful triple Lutz! Whoa, that was monster! So much speed. Setting up for triple toe loop. For everything now. Are a little tired and they don't work quite as fast as they do at the beginning. She went for it. You can tell that she really wanted that triple sow to happen.
She has recently been reunited with Valentin Nikolaev in Richmond, Virginia. Her career in the process of resurrection when she spent a little over a year and a half with Natalia Linenchuk in Newark, Delaware. But as is so often the case, Oksana making a choice to move on. And one wishes her the best.
She seems a lot happier.
Gold medalist. And then as dessert, we offer you the 1998 Olympic gold medalist. Here she is, Tara Lipinski. Music, Genie in a Bottle.
This is one of those moments where you see someone who's developed so much in the last year and a half since Nagano. You say, Pat, Jack, your little girl's growing up. She's still doing these jumps. Triple toe, big, easy, light triple toe. she does is right here, triple Lutz. Triple Lutz, she saves it. A little too close to the picking leg. Jammed it a little bit, but she's so strong. She saved it beautifully. You is a chance to work with different choreographers. See, Tara's really grown, stretched her ability to really express herself, and then she does the jumps, triple loop. At a time when the Team USA needed it most, Tara Lipinski delivers clean routine. Well, that's going to pull some pretty high numbers.
All of 17. Five times the U.S. champions, their first appearance ever in Ice Wars. And they will skate to the same music they interpreted in Nagano at the '98 Olympics. Here is Oblivion by Astor Piazzolla.
They work so well together. A 24/7 couple, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they're together. You can really see it in their skating. The one thing that differentiates ice dancing from every other discipline is kind of the way that they segue from piece to piece. You can see how footwork and movement and artistry and dance really connects everything. In singles and pairs, a lot of the connecting pieces from segue to segue, it seems to be done with jumps or spins. With dance, it's all with movement, lifts, smaller lifts than the pairs. And it just flows from one piece to the next. Difficult sequence of steps right there.
Husband and wife team of Elizabeth Punselman and Jared Swallow. One has the feeling that the world of professional skating will be very good for them, and they
World professional and Canadian professional champions, Olympians Maya Usova and Evgeny Platov.
The new ice dance team of Maya Usova and Yevgeny Platov.
There's so many things that go into making a team. When their respective partners, former partners, started skating together, everybody's wondering who would come out on top. It was amazing to see just how these two gelled and the others really didn't. All of them great skaters, phenomenal athletes, great champions, but for some reason they worked, and they still do. Great quality to their skating.
Certainly in the case of Yevgeny Platov and Pasha Grishuk, he was a sea of tranquility in that partnership.
Beautiful movement there. When you look back at the history of ice dancing, the Olympic Games, with the exception of Torvill and Dean, Russian ice dancing has owned it. This program didn't seem to me, I'm not Tracy Wilson, didn't seem to me as difficult as Jared Elizabeth, but with those marks that Jared Elizabeth got, it'll be interesting to see how the judges compare them.
Olympic Games in Albertville, France. Here, Jenny Mino and Todd Sand. They've been professionals since the '98 Nagano Games, but this, their first professional competition. The music from Jose Carreras.
During the warm-up, Todd Sand has had 2 knee operations over the last 2 years, the most serious one being the first surgery, ACL reconstruction. It's really limited his time that he can spend on the ice and his movement, but he works very hard. I tour with him, and he's really made great improvements in his mobility and his strength. Beautiful look here. Throw double axel, beautifully landed. Inside death spiral. Well, with his road back, they get stronger with each performance. It's great to see them getting back to the quality that put them on the podium at the World's.
And dance competition, the first time it is a part of Ice Wars, and it's a separate event from the singles competition. On the ice now, the pairs team from Germany, Mandy Wurzel and Ingo Steuer. They won a bronze medal in 1998 in Nagano. And they will skate to the music of Danny Wright. This is called In Memory.
spectacular. Watch this lift. He didn't get it up. He's trying to cover it as best he can, but that was a one-arm lift straight upright, and it's very difficult, and he just couldn't extend.
And Scott, given their history of injury, your heart jumps into your throat when something like that happens.
They've been injured so many times in performance, in competition. It's scary, but they really put it out there. They take it to the edge every single time. My last competition was in Boston, and he's looking for a shirt because his other one was covered with blood. So they are accident prone. Mine was too small. Nice lift there. Double axel here. Saw Mino and Sands. Same part of the ice. Nicely delivered.
Fun to watch. Mandy Virgil, Ingo Steuer.
It's always tough to recover after you miss the first element.
Bested earlier in the technical program by Team USA, Punselin and Swallow. Here are Usova and Platov, and the music, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg.
Some irony to the fact that they're using umbrellas in this number, and Never really seen anyone use umbrellas in a ice dance before. The ironic thing is that the team they're competing against has also chosen to use umbrellas in their program. It's kind of odd.
Here in the heart of Cajun country, it's dueling umbrellas.
We talked about the supremacy of Russian ice dancing over the years and how this is kind of a dream team on many levels. Interesting to compare this program with Liz and Jared's. It's rare that Liz and Jared would beat them like they did, but this is a good rivalry. Pretty well matched. Great move here.
You know, it just strikes me, Scott, if you follow this terrific sport, you get so used to the idea of Grishchuk and Platov or Usova and Julin.
And the rivalry that happened, and now they're skating kind of with each other, and it muddles everything a little bit, but they're really well suited for one another. If anything, Alexander Julin was the focus of that team.
Same music, slightly different interpretation. Now watch Punselin and Swallow with their version of Umbrellas of Cherbourg.
What are the odds? You're the two top professional ice dance teams, and you show up at the same competition with the same music, the same basic premise with umbrellas. I mean, it never happens. But in this way, you're putting everybody on common ground, and you can absolutely compare the two teams and see how they interpret it, check the difficulty, and not only that, but the innovative qualities of how they're going to use this prop. Steps, music, and the look. beautiful sequence there.
Large lead now as we head into the pairs competition in Ice Wars here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And on the ice with their artistic program from Chemnitz, Germany, Mandy Wurzel and Ingo Steuer.
To absolutely nail this routine if they're going to make up all the points lost in the ice dancing portion of the event. Great spin here. Lip they missed, and they missed it again. They missed it in the technical program. They didn't get it all the way up again. Throw double axel. Huge. A little out of sync on the lifts. Even the dismount of that one seemed to be a little bit off. She was too far away from him. Up and over backflip. They have so many tricks, so many unique kind of tricks that you would never do in an eligible competition that they haven't done in this competition. I kind of want them to do them. Very acrobatic. interesting, different, like this. They have so many more things like this that separate them from other teams. I'd like to see them do more of those things to separate them from the rest. Well, I think they needed a perfect routine. They missed the lift off the top and a little out of sorts, not quite working as the team.
As we told you earlier, their first professional competition skated quite nicely in the technical program. Now for their artistic program, the music of Carlos Santana.
This is the number they performed on tour last year. Stars on Ice. So it should be a comfortable old pair of shoes. This choreography by Sander Bezic. It really is reminiscent somewhat of Underhill and Martini a little bit in the style, and Sander always presents the woman so beautifully, and there's always a sensual quality to her choreography and the way she puts couples together. Their throw double axel. A little outside the circle, but she did it beautifully. Lift, the swoop lift. I always get uncomfortable watching it. But it gets a great reaction from the audience. Watch the way down, the dismount. This is intended. Wow!
I don't know how many times I've seen it. I get nervous every time. Every time.
Well, that should more than do it. A beautifully delivered routine. Smooth. Looks like they've done.
Team USA takes on the world in an all-new Ice Wars next.
It's Ice Wars. Team USA has won 5 of the last 6 battles, but tonight they find themselves in an uncomfortable position, trailing the world team. She was supported by showman Philippe Candeloro and World Team newcomer Alexei Urmanov. Don't count out Team USA and their trio of Olympic gold medalists. They know what it takes to win. And remember one thing about Ice Wars, it's all about team.
Good team!
We welcome you to Ice Wars. Tonight we come to you from the Riverside Centralplex in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The sport of figure skating has come to Cajun country. The technical programs in USA versus the World televised on Thanksgiving afternoon. Here are the scores for the American team at the completion of those technical programs. Brian Boitano leading the way, followed by Rudy Galindo and Scott Davis. Tara Lipinski and Kristi Yamaguchi with the highest ladies scores. Tonya Kwiatkowski was third. According to the format, the lowest scores are eliminated. The top two scores in men's and ladies carry over to tonight's artistic program. So the total for the states, 193.2. Now, after the technical program for the world team, Urmanov and Browning led the way. Philippe Candeloro was third. Oksana Baiul with a terrific skate, followed by Yuka Sato. Surya Bonaly was third. Eliminate Candeloro and Bonaly, and the world team score 194.5. So as we get set for tonight's artistic programs, the world team with a slight lead over the USA. Good evening once again, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Olympic gold medalist Scott Hamilton. Sixth time we have presented Ice Wars, and I think you thought this time the USA would take a commanding lead after the tech program.
Last time I do my homework. I am never doing my homework again. It was ridiculous. I'm watching the practices, and the USA team looked completely dominant. All the men, all the women were skating wonderfully. Comes down to the performance, a couple unfortunate performances, but when they needed it most, Brian Boitano, Tara Lipinski both came through with clutch performances to keep Team USA in it.
Now tonight, Scott, it's the artistic program, and we have head-to-head matchups.
And they're all important. Every single head-to-head matchup is crucial for Team USA, but I think the two that are the most important, Kurt Browning and Brian Boitano, that matchup is crucial, as is Oksana Baiul against Kristi Yamaguchi. Those are the two to watch out for, because those two could decide this championship.
And the third member of our commentary team is standing by with the world team. Let's go to Bonnie Bernstein right now.
Thank you and good evening, Vern. You know, Kurt, these things are usually blowouts in the United States' favor. You guys are up by a point. What's the pregame speech you give to your teammates?
I think we just had to keep doing what we were doing before. You're right. Usually it's a blowout for the U.S. and take advantage of the lead. We might need some of it later on this evening. United States is a great, strong team, but I've seen our practices. We've got some pretty exciting exhibition numbers tonight, and who knows, especially with that costume over there, I don't think we got a problem.
We've got kind of a showman in you, Philippe. Everybody's actually got some interesting costumes, but you always have a theme. Give me a little bit of a taste of what we're going to see from you tonight.
Well, I'm going to do something about Braveheart with Mel Gibson. Maybe you will have a chance to see my underwear tonight. If I jump very high, maybe you have a chance.
Wait, did you just say we might have a chance to see your underwear?
Yeah, my underwear. Now you can see it, but when I'm going to jump, maybe you will have a chance.
We're going to do the best we can to keep this to a family show.
No problem.
Head-to-head matchups. If you had to pick one that's going to be critical tonight, would you consider it to be you versus Brian Boitano?
No, because I think I already know how that one's going to end up.
You care to tell us?
Yeah, I think Brian's going to win. And but I think that Alexei over there is going to be our ace in the hole. Is going to be the one that we go to for a lot of points tonight.
All right, thanks so much. Good luck to y'all. And Vern and Scott will send it back up to you.
Okay, Bonnie, as we said, head-to-head competition and the order in which we will see them skate. Rudy Galindo of the U.S. against Olympic champion Alexei Urmanov. Tonya Kwiatkowski against Yuka Sato. Scott Davis of the United States versus Philippe Candeloro. Then later on in Group 2, Olympic champion Tara Lipinski against Surya Bonaly. Olympic champion Brian Boitano against Kurt Browning. And the final matchup of the evening, two Olympic gold medalists head-to-head, Kristi Yamaguchi and Oksana Baiul. And we are set to begin artistic programs, head-to-head matchups. First on the ice, representing the United States. He won the national title in '96. Here is Rudy Galindo.
That's that big disco everybody's talking about. Studio 54.
Rudy's going to show us right off the bat that the artistic program, no rules. What you see is what you get.
Music is called Studio 54.
Triple toe, triple toe. He's got some difficult jumps in this program. The jumps aren't what the judges are necessarily looking for, but he's up against Alexei Urmanov, who is doing a very traditional skate. Rudy's not doing a traditional skate. He's doing a traditional, more traditional, I guess, show number. Lost his ring, picked it up. That was nice of him. But again, when you're competing against someone who's doing something more traditional, you're going to add the jumps, even though the focus of this number is more on the choreography and the crowd contact.
He won the national title in 1996. He comes to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm not sure whether deliberate or not, but he's dressed in LSU colors. Rudy Galindo. Hold that tiger.
Well, it's always great to see someone comfortable in their own skin, and Rudy's just out there saying, hey, this is me. I hope you enjoy it. I am. Rudy did some good triples in this program, but still he went for the crowd first, and this is still a judged event in front of people that know good skating. He's up against somebody who's doing a traditional skate. It'll be really interesting to see how the marks go in this particular matchup, because the two styles couldn't be more different.
Well, this is head-to-head competition, so it's Galindo against Alexei Urmanov. The scores will be held until both men have skated. And now for a much more traditional impersonation on the ice. 1994 Olympic gold medalist. He was 20 years old when he captured that gold medal against a loaded field that included Kurt Browning and Brian Boitano and Victor Petrenko. He's had trouble with injuries since he's turned pro. This is a reprise of his gold medal winning effort that night in Lillehammer. Here's Alexei Urmanov, Swan Lake, Tchaikovsky.
It's an artistic program by title. This program is packed. Technical moves like this triple axel, double. A little slower going into it than the one he did in the technical program. A little hesitant. Triple flip. Double. Again, timing a little bit off. Sometimes when you're in theatrical lighting, your horizon isn't quite as distinct as it is when you're using more competitive lighting, and sometimes it can throw your timing off a little bit. Probably happening here. It's much more difficult to do these difficult jumps when you have less light. Triple for him, triple toe loop. He puts a triple flip in and doubles it again. That was supposed to be a triple toe. He went for the flip, which is a harder jump. Doubled it again. Everything that made this program strong against Rudy, he's denying himself. He's lessening the difficulty and evening the field.
That's a total of 3 planned triples that have become doubles.
Double axle plan here. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw a triple. Double axle. Jumps again, triple toe loop. Nicely done. The strength of his technical program is really what made such a huge difference in the world team against Team USA. Just beautiful triple axle, triple flip. It was really amazing to watch. So close to his eligible career, competing in the world level against the best technical athletic skaters in the world. Now he's in the professional ranks. Changes everything. Double axle. Triple sal. He's completely making up the program now as he goes along. Shows what kind of condition he is at the end of the program. Just throws the triple sal and he goes, I know I need something. I need those triples to compete with Rudy.
Well, that last 1 minute of the program became an improvisation on Tchaikovsky. He made it up as he went along. Alexei Urmanov, now 25. And a professional.
Again, a much more traditional skate, footwork, spins. Rudy really went after the crowd, spent a lot of time schmoozing. And again, these are coaches, these are skaters. They know what skating is and what they're used to seeing in competitive situations. This could really work in Alexei's behalf. I'm sure he's disappointed with his effort, but still, a more traditional skate might pull higher marks. Rudy spent a lot of time there at the boards. You can see the wives are looking, the husbands don't know quite what to think, but the wives are taking it.
Put them over the center? Yeah.
Again, these jumps so important. Triple axle off the top, 1, 2.5. You can see not the same speed, not the same intensity. He went in the triple axle in the technical program. Very end of the program, you're tired. It's tough to pull these legs together tightly, but he does so beautifully. Great rotation, that triple sow cow. You know, an easy double toe to make it a combination. Needed to get something done to get these marks, and every 1/10 of a point counts.
Head-to-head matchup, a total of 7 judges on the panel scoring on a 10-point system. Judge number 1 goes for Galindo, as does Judge 2. Ermanov gets the vote of Judge 8. Browning is saying, I called you the key to this. Number 4 goes to Ermanov. Number 5 goes to Alexei.
9.8, 9.9. Judge 7, 9.7, 9.6.
Rudy Galindo gets judge number 7's vote. The total, Ermanov 97.6 to 97.4. And the scores in the artistic round are doubled. So the world team continues to lead. They have 292.1, the United States 290.6. We'll be back in Baton Rouge in a moment. Welcome back to Ice Wars from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The current standings, one head-to-head match in the books. The world team leads the United States 292.1 to 290.6. And next up, representing the world team, the 1994 world champion. From Tokyo, she now lives in the United States with her husband, pair skater Jason Dungeon. Here is Yuka Sato. And she skates to a song from Bernadette Peters called I Make Him Feel Good.
Her strength is a lack of weaknesses, and she feels every note of this music. First jump, a triple loop. Boom. A little save in the landing, but still a triple loop right in front of the judges. Waste no time going into this triple sow cow. Solid. Skating so well. What a joy to watch.
Yuka Sato, she and Jason Dungeon married this summer, now living in Lake Orion, Michigan, and she is really concentrating on a pairs career with her husband. They will begin competing in that discipline. I can never forget, Scott, when you introduced me to this sport. It's been almost 10 years ago now at the World Juniors in Colorado Springs. And the World Junior Ladies Champion that year was Yuka Sato. She is a delight.
She's a joy and a quality skater on every level. I'd hate to be the next one out. And Tanya Kwiatkowski has that unenviable task of skating after perfect, beautiful skating. If that is Tanya Kwiatkowski.
Hard to tell. She has undergone a transformation. Here is the 1996 U.S. silver medalist, long-time amateur career. And can you imagine who she's going to try and impersonate here?
On the ice for Team USA, Tanya Kwiatkowski.
From Cleveland, Ohio. Coached as she has been for many, many years by Carol Heiss-Jenkins. Tanya Kwiatkowski.
A kiss of the hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend. A kiss may be grand, but it won't pay the rental on your humble flat or help you at the automat.
All right. I'm so used to seeing Tanya skate to more classical things, more traditional skating numbers, and to see her really dress it up, put it out there in a completely different character is wonderful, and she's doing such a great job.
Like Yuka Sato, Tanya Kwiatkowski, a recent newlywed. She and David Rawls married this summer and honeymooned in Hawaii. She said after the technical program, Scott, she loves being a professional. The stress factor for her was such as an amateur that she just was devastated by every fall. And she said, now, you know, I can live with it.
Jump at the end of this program that she really doesn't need. Ah, nice double flip, very smart. On the element sheet it said triple toe loop, but this is an artistic program as much as the jumps impress the judges. It's the mood you create, it's the choreography, and it's the difficulty of steps. Beautiful program from Tanya Kwiatkowski.
Tanya Kwiatkowski.
Can you tell she's pleased?
She's going to be fun to watch. Yuka Sato's performance was flawless, and it's great skating, but this was really interesting because she took on a character. She never let the character down, kept it going throughout, and a whole different look. It's so important to impress these judges with something that's unexpected, and that was totally unexpected from Tanya. Again, the jumps are accessories in these artistic programs, but look at this triple loop. It's straight up, straight out. 1 foot, she saves it a little bit. Over-rotated with her upper body. She managed to hang on. Split jump here. Look at the extension, the height. Steps right into a double axel, a mohawk. Set up, forward takeoff, 2.5 revolutions. Again, the height, the flow, the air position, all very important here. So nice to hit these jumps. They make the skater feel good. But again, in the artistic programs, it's what you do on the ice, not so much what you do in the air. And these two programs are very comparable. Triple toe loop right here from Tanya. Like nice straight in the air, a little close to the landing, slightly two-footed, but again, jumps are accessories. She created the mood. She kept it going throughout. Team USA is going, get through the jumps. You've got this thing. This is pretty good. You're up against a very, very accomplished skater in Yuka Sato. This would be huge if Tanya can hold her own.
And now the results of the judges. Judge 1, Yuka Sato, 9.8 to 9.7.
9.9.
And judge number 2,
9.8, 9.7.
Kwiatkowski.
9.9.
Kwiatkowski.
It's all even.
9.8.
Kwiatkowski.
Wow.
9.8.
Whoa.
9.9.
Wow. That is a surprise.
Enormous victory in that head-to-head match. Wow. On paper, it looks like a walkover Sato, but that was so impressive.
So there is the first big upset of the evening. Tanya Kwiatkowski defeats Yuka Sato. And the standings now with 2 matches complete and 4 to go. The world team 389.7, the U.S. 388.8. Now time for a CBS figure skating quiz. Who was the first competitor to include a backflip in his or her program at an Olympics or World Championships? The answer when we return to Ice Wars. We're back in Baton Rouge. Here's the answer to our quiz question. The question, of course, who was the first competitor to include a backflip in his or her program at either an Olympics or World Championships? And the answer, Terry Kubica of the United States in the 76 Worlds.
And I skated with him when he was learning that backflip. You know, the towels around the waist and learning it and everything. And after he did it at the World Championships, the judges said, well, you know, don't do that again next year because we're going to nail you. And ever since then, they really cracked down hard on people trying to do more acrobatic moves in their long programs.
Now coming next, a young man who is no stranger to acrobatic moves. He's been known to throw in a backflip or two. A real performer on the ice when he's skating. Philippe Candeloro from France. He has an affection with the crowd that is mutually felt.
When I feel something with the audience, I have more power and I want to give more than I can. And they give me help because without the audience, you know, we cannot skate like with this electricity.
Known for his characters and costumes, Philippe's current claim to fame is his lack of a costume as he completes his program.
He does what he does best. I mean, it's all about the character, and he loves playing different characters on the ice. We always talk about Philippe and think that the next step in one of his programs is he's going to take his pants off, because if he keeps taking more clothes off, there's really going to be nothing left than to just really skate with a fig leaf.
I know the people like when I take it off my shirt, so I have to still skate like that, because if I'm not doing anymore, it's someone else going to take my place. The thing I want is, like, if I see the people standing in ovation for me at the end of my program, I won the competition for myself.
Am I sexy real now?
And as he mentioned earlier in his conversation with Bonnie Bernstein, his challenge tonight,
Philippe Candeloro,
keeping his kilt in place. He won Olympic bronze in Lillehammer in 1994. He repeated that accomplishment in Nagano in 1998. Tonight, he interprets the character William Wallace as portrayed in the movie Braveheart. Here is Philippe Candeloro.
Take care of this, okay?
As Brian Boitano said, the interpretation of character, nothing new for Candeloro. He memorably portrayed the Godfather in 1994 in Norway, and equally as memorably, the Three Musketeers in Japan. in 1998.
In the year 1301, on a day filled with blood, Edward, King of England, brought Scotland down to its knees until a man was born who wanted to take revenge in memory of his deceased beloved. United behind him, seeking freedom in this dark horizon, all the clans were ready to fight, so in their hearts and soul would live forever the name of William Wallace.
Jumps in the technical program. This first jump's meant to be a triple axel. In these lights, I think it's going to be next to impossible. Double axel. Toe loop, nicely landed. This program is a marathon, 6.5 minutes long.
Not all serious.
I was just about to say it's so important when you're trying to accomplish something like so artistically to stay in character. Triple Lutz, turn out on the landing. Philippe is such a crowd skater. Anytime he can just look up into that audience and invite them onto the ice with him. It's hard for him to resist the temptation to do so. Of this length, it's important to choreograph some rest areas in it. This is one of those where he's changing the mood and trying to get his legs back. Triple loop, little 2-foot on the landing. Beautiful move there. He invented it. Jumps, backflip, right into triple toe loop.
He got a little help from Kerry Leach.
I hope he's done jumping. Throughout the routine, you could sense that he owned this crowd, and they're on their feet.
He just can't resist.
Well, no, it's like, I'm Philippe, I'm from France. Check out my underpants. Yeah, the little can here. Why didn't Mel Gibson think of that?
Well, he has carved for himself a special niche in this sport.
And the audience knows that whenever Philippe is on the ice, they come first. Whether or not you like his form of skating or his direction artistically or his style, the audience comes first. They sense it and they appreciate it.
Philippe Candeloro, his wife Olivia, they are expecting their first child this spring in April. Still live in a suburb on the outskirts of Paris. Well, we have seen him perform around the world, and he is very popular no matter the geographic region. We'll return with Ice Wars and Scott Davis of the United States in a head-to-head matchup after these messages. We welcome you back to Ice Wars, coming to you tonight from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 6th year in succession that Ice Wars has been presented. There's the panel of 7 judges headed by Kerry Leach. And they are distinguished members of the figure skating community. Gordy McKellen, Jim Milnes, Roy Bradshaw, Peter Barna, Natalie Siebold, Allison Smith, Mark Rousum, and the referee, Kerry Leach, who provided a helping hand of sorts to Philippe Candeloro. Next on the ice, twice a United States national champion, now professional. He won those titles in 1993 and 1994. Here is Scott Davis. Music is called Stay the Same. Joey McIntyre, the performer.
Don't you ever wish you were someone else? You were meant to be the way you are exactly. Don't you ever say you don't like the way you are. When you learn to love yourself, you're better off by.
Anytime you have a show-stopping performance, the next skater can either use that energy to his advantage, or you might let it get to him. Triple Lutz, nicely landed, a little 2-foot on the landing, a little close, but still, to come out after that crowd response and keep your focus and concentration is really difficult.
If you could realize all the dreams you have inside, don't be afraid if you got something to say.
Scott's specialty makes him unique is the quality of his spins. We're going to see a few throughout this program.
Someone else, you were meant to be the way you are exactly. Don't you ever say you don't like the way you are when you learn to love yourself.
Triple toe loop, nicely landed.
And I hope you always stay the same. There's nothing about you I would change. Believe in yourself. Reach down inside. The love you find will set you free. Believe in yourself.
Triple Sally hung on to the landing. Makes Scott Davis special. Watch the quality and the speed of these spins.
And I hope you always stay the same. 'Cause there's nothing about you I would change. No, there's nothing about you.
Final blur spin. Watch this. He just cranks it.
That's pretty good.
He struggled in the tech program, and to come out after Philippe captivated this crowd and get a standing ovation of his own, these judges know, hey, Philippe got him, so did Scott Davis. It'll be interesting to see how they compare. So close, so different.
Scott, since turning professional, has been traveling with Grease on Ice, where he has been co-starring with Nancy Kerrigan. Takes a break and performs in his first Ice Wars and performs well.
Philippe Candeloro, dramatist, loving the crowd, milks everything he can out of a performance, works it. Great sequence. He gets on his boots and he just spins. His blades aren't even on the ice. He's spinning on his boots. Cool move. End of his program, he had two great jumps. This is one of them. It's backflip. It's so light, so high. Goes up and right over. Comfortably landing. Kept the speed going throughout. Kerry Leach, the referee, says, okay, I can help you out here. You see the smirk on his face saying, okay, I'm participating in this. It's kind of cool. All right, whatever. Scott Davis. Again, the spins. It's just so great. Look at the speed and the position of this. Wow. Centrifugal force is unbelievable when you're going that fast, trying to hold your leg up like that.
Now Candeloro and Davis await the judgment of the judges.
9.7.
Candeloro earns favor with Judge 1 and 2.
Judge 3, 9.8. 9.7.
3 in a row.
Well, you had to think that Scott Davis was really up against it. Philippe is so well known and so respected. Scott's been on tour with Greece, and he's got a lot of success in his own right, but Philippe is really the bigger star in these two, and they both turned in great performances.
Judge 7. 9.9. 9.9.
Judge 7 gives them a tie, but the total 98-6 for Philippe Candeloro and 97-6 for Scott Davis, but well done on both counts.
486.4.
Midway through the artistic programs, the world team still has the lead, 488.3, the United States 486.4. But in the second half of Ice Wars, the U.S. with 3 superstars. Olympic champion Kristi Yamaguchi. Olympic champion Brian Boitano. And Olympic champion Tara Lipinski. We welcome you back to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Ice Wars. Just outside of the Riverside Centralplex is the old State Capitol building. And inside, Ice Wars continues. This, the 6th consecutive year of the Ice Wars USA versus the world. We're now midway through the artistic programs, and Team USA continues to trail the world team. The world team with 488.3 and the United States 486.4. Final group of skaters on the ice in their warm-up. Here is Surya Bonaly of France.
I can't think of one instance where Surya has defeated Tara Lipinski, so you've got to favor Tara in that matchup. She's so strong and powerful, but this is an artistic program. I said it earlier, the jumps are more or less accessories. Beautiful triple toe loop. You can really see her strength.
Surya Bonaly will go head-to-head against the 1998 Olympic gold medalist, Tara Lipinski.
And she's in her 2nd year as a professional, and she's just growing up so fast. When she came out into the professional ranks, she seemed like a little girl, you know. Everything was exciting and fun, but she's really calmed down. She's really into how she looks and how she presents herself on the ice, and she always has been, but now the artistry is really kicking in.
And one of the featured matchups tonight, the 4-time world champion from Toronto, Canada, Kurt Browning.
Doing a brand new program tonight. Incredible crowd skater, so talented artistically, because not only what he does in the air, like this incredible double axel, but also the quickness of his feet, his choreography, and his crowd appeal. Brian Boitano's going to have his hands full trying to, beat the crowd response from Kurt Browning.
And Brian Boitano, now 36 years of age, still skating as elegantly as ever.
Technical genius, but he's really taking some chances. You can tell by this costume he's not skating a Pavarotti tonight, that's for sure. He's trying a brand new look, a brand new program, and if anything can match Kurt's crowd response, this program could do it, because it's going to be a different thing for this audience to see Brian presenting himself in this fashion.
And in the final matchup tonight, we'll have a battle of Olympic gold medalists. First, Kristi Yamaguchi, who won her gold in 1992.
Kristi's just so unbelievable. Technical machine. You can see that triple flip right there. It's one she struggled with a little bit in the technical program. Beautiful, beautiful artistic skater. Presence on the ice. She's really developed over the years as a professional skater and really understands crowd, position, choreography. She's going to be tough for Oksana Baiul to beat, but I got to tell you, Oksana Baiul, brand new. She keeps reinventing herself. She keeps kind of struggling, then coming back, struggling, coming back. But you can see the intensity here. She's been backstage, totally focused, turned in an incredible technical program, huge triple Lutz. The joke was backstage where the judges are saying the only thing that, beautiful height on that, they said the only thing that goes higher than that serves drinks. It was amazing to see her on her newest comeback, but she looks focused and very intense. It's going to be a great matchup with her and Kristi Yamaguchi.
Well, how do you assess the United States' chances of claiming a lead?
It's going to be really tough, because I think realistically they have to win every single matchup. Everyone has to be won, and convincingly.
Here is the order of skating for Group 2. Surya Bonaly matched head-to-head against Tara Lipinski. Then Kurt Browning and Brian Boitano. And we conclude the evening with Kristi Yamaguchi going head-to-head against Oksana Baiul.
Skating for the world team, Surya Bonaly.
Now 25 years of age and a resident of Las Vegas, Nevada. She and her mom, Suzanne, moved to the States a couple of years ago, lived on the East Coast until their recent transition out west. Here is Surya Bonaly. And tonight she will skate to Mambo by Ima Sumac.
I think performing in the professional world, nice double axel, has really helped Surya. The crowd appeal and her focus on the audience. She loves to jump, she loves to flip, she loves to spin, she does all the technical things really well. It's the artistry that's held her back over the years. She didn't always quite understand why, competing as an amateur Olympic eligible skater, that she didn't get the marks that she really wanted, but I think the pro world is more suited for her. Split jump, triple toe, they're beautiful. If it goes by effort, I said it in the tech program, she's always the first one on the ice and the last one off the ice. She works so hard. Watch this backflip. Position and double sound. Normally she does triple there, and I don't know how, because really it is impossible. She must do it with mirrors or something. Difficult fall right there. She looked shocked when she got up, like, how did I miss that? I never missed those. That's 2 in a row. She's disappointed. Any fall disrupts the flow of the program, and even though the jumps aren't so important, it's a flow thing, and it really interrupts the choreography, and that probably, she just handed Tara Lipinski a 10th of a point. Difficult mistake towards the end of the program, because at the end of the program, that's what the judges remember most.
Scores will be held until both skaters have completed their artistic program. Surya Bonaly has accomplished that. Next on the ice, Olympic gold medalist Tara Lipinski. Time now for another CBS figure skating quiz question. Who is the youngest world and Olympic champion? We'll have the answer in just a moment. Welcome back to Baton Rouge and Ice Wars. And the answer to our quiz question, who is the youngest world and Olympic champion? She is competing here tonight. The answer, Tara Lipinski. She won the world title 14 years and 9 months of age, and the Olympic championship when she was 15 years and 8 months.
And 10 days. See, that's how I get to be this expert job. So you do the research and 10 days. They're too young to know how tough it is. They're just, you know. What a talent.
A couple of good luck charms for Tara Lipinski on the boards. And the winner of the Olympics in 1998 in Nagano, Japan, on the ice. Now 17 years of age. This program choreographed by Leanne Miller. Dreamcatcher by Secret Garden. Here is Tara Lipinski.
Hear my silent prayer, heed my quiet call. When the dark and blue surround you, step into my side, look inside the light. You will know that I have found you.
Music and choreography really lends itself to softness and flow, touch with the ice. But behind all these gentle moves is a fierce competitor who loves to jump. First jump right here is a triple flip. Triple toe loop. Don't let her fool you. These jumps are really difficult. But again, they're accessories. What really matters, choreography, line, flow. Sow cow here, right in front of the judges, and just nails it.
Hear my silent prayer, heed my quiet call. When the dark and blue surround you, step into my side, look inside the light. You will know that I have found you.
She knows how good that was.
So do they.
Don't be surprised to see a 0.2 of a point difference We've seen a lot of 110s, but this should be a big disparity. She could have made up a lot of ground between those two performances. That was huge for Team USA.
Opening provided by Surya Bonaly. Tara Lipinski trying to leap right through it, or skate right through it.
Awesome.
Way to go, girl! Backflip, watch this, just goes up, split in the air. Now, normally she can get a triple sow off here, but I think she might have spent a little too much time forward on that toe pick. All she get out with a double. Triple sow is such a money jump for her. Again, triple sow out here, and that's one she missed with a double, and this one, a little short of the rotation right there. Caught the heel, could not save the landing. Costly error. The jumps don't matter so much unless you nail them perfectly, because it goes right in the program. Triple flip, 1, 2, 3. Comes down on 1 foot easily. Nice smile there saying, oh, I got this one. That's no problem at all. A beautiful layback. Middle of the program. A complete performance. The judges know how good that was. Tara knew how good it was. And you saw the disappointment on Surya's face coming off the ice. You knew that could cost the world team a lot of points. It could cost them their lead.
Well, we are told Surya Bonaly not feeling well, so she's going back to the dressing room. And Tara Lipinski awaits the assessment of the judges. Well, the U.S. needed a big skate from Tara Lipinski. They got it. Let's see how well she is rewarded by the judges. Here comes Surya.
And Tara Lipinski from Judge 1, 9.7, 9.9. From Judge 2.
There's the 2/10 of a point from Judge 1 and Judge 2.
From Judge 3.
If the 2/10 of a point sweeps all the way across, Tara Lipinski in one performance has eliminated the world team's lead.
From Judge 5, 9.7, 9.9.
It continues.
From Judge 6, 9.7, 9.9.
That's it.
From Judge 7, 9.7, 9.9.
2/10 of a point difference by each of the 7 judges. The total for Bonaly, 97. The total for Tara Lipinski, 99. And for the first time tonight, Team USA has claimed the lead. How close is it? 1/10 of 1 point. Let's go down to Bonnie Bernstein with Tara Lipinski.
Tara, U.S. had a bit of a lead to overcome. How exciting were you after that skate?
I'm very excited because, you know, coming into this competition, I just wanted to skate well and have fun and go for the USA. And so far, we're in the lead, so hopefully I helped a little bit.
All right, congratulations, Tara.
Thank you.
Can Team USA hold on to its narrow lead? The world team's Kurt Browning head-to-head with Olympic champion Brian Boitano when Ice Wars returns. CBS Sportsline has the most in-depth sports coverage on the web. When you've got to know more, just log on to cbs.sportsline.com or on America Online, enter keyword CBS Sportsline. Back at Ice Wars, Team USA has taken a narrow lead over the world team with that wonderful performance by Tara Lipinski. And on the ice right now, 4 times a world champion and a terrific entertainer. Here's Kurt Browning.
Program for Kurt. Really shows his strength. Watch this double axel. Whoa! Triple cell. Whoa! All this, and he's triple toe. He's unloading every everything. He stopped by our commentary position during the commercial. He said, I know what I'm most worried about. I split my pants coming onto the ice. I think they got it sewn back up, but I think he's more worried about the intangible than he is about the quality of his skate. Great footwork section here.
It's so much better. I'm funkin' out in every way, but I'll never lose that feeling, you know, of how I love my dancing. When they were dancing and singing and moving to the grooving, and just when it hit me, somebody turned around and started to play that funky music, white boy. Play that funky music, white. Play that funky music, white boy. Lay down the
So difficult to keep this level of energy up and still do those jumps. Oh. Whoa!
Talk about skating with some degree of apprehension. What a wonderful performance.
And that's typical Kurt. Taro Lipinski comes out, eliminates the world team's lead. He's not intimidated at all. He comes out and goes, they need something special for me, and I'm going to deliver, and I'm going to milk it too. What a great new program, a great look for Kurt Browning, just when they needed it most. And the performance doesn't end.
So smart not to try the loop. So tired. I was like triple loop.
Again, the scores will be held until Brian Boitano completes his skate. Trust me, this means a lot to Brian Boitano.
New look, new program coming out after what Kurt Browning does best.
Music is called Wild Elephants.
Swish, triple Salchow. Triple Lutz right here with the arm over the head. Beautifully landed. So much speed coming out. We're so used to the drama. We're so used to Brian's getting heavy programs. For him to come out and just party and have a good time. So great to see. jumps right here, right to the music. Triple toe, double toe, double loop right at the end of the phrase. To be able to time that so perfectly.
To put too much of an alliterative spin on this, but how about Browning and Boitano and Baton Rouge? That was pretty good.
Awesome. And you know what? It's funny because you can take what happened before you and let it bring you down, or you can use it to your advantage. Who knows? Had they reversed their positions in skating, who knows what would have happened? But I'm telling you, Brian took the energy that Kurt took from Tara Lipinski. They're building on each other, and the marks are just going to keep going up and up and up. They might have to judge this on an 11 scale pretty soon.
Well, he told us he wanted to have a new look.
You had that in you.
And he needed this new look because Kurt came out and does what Kurt does his best. If Brian would have come out with a signature performance, whether he's getting something dramatic or serious or intense, it might not have had the same reaction, but he took that energy and he applied it to his own performance, and I'm sure it was worth tense here and tense there. Kurt Browning, look at the size of this jump, the tightness in the air, the flow across the ice, almost out of control. Double axel, half loop, triple sow cow, beautifully landed. This was a clash of the Titans. Kurt knows how to use his intensity and his dance ability and his focus on the audience. He knows how to use all those things from experience. Again, Kurt Browning, great show skater. The facial expressions, the body movement, he used it all. Triple Lutz, the tunnel Lutz, the beginning of the program. Watch his height, and the flow coming out of it was just so pure. Clash of the Titans, these two, and a great rivalry they have in the professional competition ranks. So much fun to watch. Choreography. Now, you're used to seeing Brian do other things. This is not Brian. This is Brian off the ice, but you rarely see him do it on the ice. Fun, affable. Great stuff. Kurt's going, man, you're a genius. This is good. This is great.
How about these two great champions? Now, the assessment of the judges. There's a 10.
And again, you've got to look at it in skating order. Had Kurt come on after Brian, who knows? Maybe this would have been reversed, but the energy level increased with each magnificent performance from Tara to Kurt to Brian.
9.9, 10.0. From Judge 5, 10.0, 10.0. From Judge 6, 9.9, 9.9. From Judge 7, 9.9, 10.0.
Spectacular. Boitano best Browning by 1 point.
And it felt a lot closer than that. Wow, that was fun.
The United States expands its lead by a bit. 685.4 to 684.3. And let's go down to Bonnie Bernstein.
All right, thank you, Vern. Brian, perfect 10s. Not a bad day for a debut program, huh?
Not a bad day. I've been working on that program really hard, so I didn't really feel like it was a debut because I had it under my belt pretty well in practice.
Now, I'm going to have to give you a little bit of hassle, Kurt, because you gave me this whole song and dance about, oh, I just finished the choreography the other day, and boy, did you really pull it off.
That.
Yeah, you know, I think you're right. But you pulled it off.
I pulled it off, and I'm really happy. It's just really cool to see you funk out, man, and really get into it. It was really fun, and to still do the technical. I think that's what got me is the technical and the funking all at the same time.
Well, just to be sitting in the middle of this mutual admiration society, I don't think it gets much better than this. What do you think, guys?
Well, Bonnie, I guess not, unless makes you consider who is up next. We have 2 Olympic gold medalists, Kristi Yamaguchi and Oksana Baiul. They go head-to-head when we come back. Welcome back to Ice Wars. It has been exciting, to say the least.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kristi Yamaguchi.
The United States took the lead 2 matches ago when Tara Lipinski beat Surya Bonaly. Then we just watched Brian Boitano edge Kurt Browning. And now the 1992 Olympic gold medalist from the United States, Kristi Yamaguchi, the music of Shania Twain.
I just swear that I'll always be there through weakness and strength, happiness and sorrow. I will love you. From this moment, life has begun. From this moment, you are the one. Right beside you is where I belong. From this moment.
It's always nice to get the first jump under your belt. A beautiful double axel. The style of music, choreography really suits Kristi.
For your happiness and for your love, I give my
As strong as she is artistically, technically. Wow, triple flip here. Beautifully landed. With each successful move, Kristi is slowly closing the door on the world team.
I can't wait to live my life with you. I can't wait to start.
Brian Boitano bought her a point she can mess around with.
My dreams came true. Because of you. From this moment, as long as I live, I will love you. I promise you this, there is nothing I wouldn't give. From this moment on.
Triple toe loop. Solid, beautiful, balanced, gorgeous routine from Kristi Yamaguchi. That could do it.
Skating for Team USA, Kristi Yamaguchi.
Beautifully done, Kristi Yamaguchi. The approval of her American teammates and this crowd gathered in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Beautiful, perfect skating. Just got to be happy with that.
Good job.
And that lays a minefield out for Oksana Baiul. She has to hit everything and really nail the program artistically.
The United States currently leads by 1 1/10 point. And now Oksana Baiul. This, I would believe, a significant moment for Oksana. She has been inconsistent in her performances for several years, having won that gold medal in 1994. And now, last skater of the evening. World team needs a huge artistic program from Oksana Baiul.
Oksana Baiul.
Music of Britney Spears.
Now, who's to say what Kristi Yamaguchi's marks were, but you've got to think they're at least 9.9. With this lead that the Team USA has, Oksana has to beat her by 0.2 of a point by 2 judges.
How was I supposed to know that something wasn't right here? Oh, baby, I shouldn't let you go.
Triple Lutz right here.
Now you're out of sight.
Another triple Lutz.
How you want it to be? Tell me, baby, 'cause I need to know now. Because my loneliness is killing me.
Known more for her classical elegance, more like a ballet style. Really attacking this very modern program. Triple toe. Costly error there. She needed to be perfect in order to have any chance. Triple Salchow. She's putting it all in there. The struggles that she's had over the last few years. Beautiful triple Lutz at the beginning of the program. Going for the triple toe and the triple Sal. You've got to think that she's on her way back.
She is being coached once again by Valentin Nikolaev, who was at Galina Smievskaya's side that night in Lillehammer as an assistant when Oksana Baiul edged Nancy Kerrigan. Oksana made the move down to Richmond, Virginia about 2.5 months ago to rejoin Nikolaev.
Well, every journey begins with its first step, and going back to her roots seems like a really good idea because she looks better than she's looked in the last few events I've seen her in. Difficult is that to come after all of those amazing performances and to be put in a position where you have to be better than perfect. She had to feel the pressure. The momentum swung all at once. Came out of practically nowhere, you'd think, Well, not nowhere. Olympic gold medalist, Olympic gold medalist, Olympic gold medalist. I mean, wow. What a competition. Came right down to the last two performances.
There was promise for Oksana Baiul at the beginning of this artistic program when she landed the triple Lutz, but then had problems on her second jump, and making it all up just became impossible.
Well, it just became one of those things where they've had to lead the entire competition, and then you're going after a perfect Tara Lipinski, a perfect Brian Boitano, and a perfect Kristi Yamaguchi. Whoa, that's momentum. Kristi doubled her triple flip in the technical program. You got to think she's never going to do that twice in a row. Her best jump, technically pure, right up, 1, 2, 3, in 1 foot. Beautiful landing position right there, full of confidence and flow. Flying camel, watch this position here. She goes right up, right into the camel position right there. Layover. Great jumping, great spinning, beautiful choreography and presentation. Oksana's triple Lutz, she just set that foot in there. Look at the determination of that setup is right there, and she's flying. 1, 2, 3, yeah, hang on. All right, I'm not gonna miss this one. Look at that face. There's no way in the world she's gonna miss that triple Lutz. End of the program. Looked like it might be a double axel, and the music ran out, and she goes, okay, I got to end this program right now, and it's hit me, baby, one more time. Done. Music. That's improvising right there. I needed to come up with an ending pose, and I got it.
And the scores now for Yamaguchi and Baiul.
From Judge 2, 9.9, 9.7. From Judge 3, 9.9.
First 3 go for Yamaguchi.
From Judge 4, 9.9.
So hard to sit there and know that, you know, it's a process. You know that Kristi skated clean. You know you struggled a little bit, but still, it's the road back. Happens with the first, the next event.
From Judge 7, 10.0, 9.8.
It's tough to take. But what a huge victory for Team USA.
97.6 for Oksana Baiul.
Final total for Kristi Yamaguchi of 99 points. And the United States comes from behind to defeat the world team in Ice Wars 6 here in Baton Rouge. It began with Lipinski, it continued with Boitano, and it was concluded with Yamaguchi. 3 Olympic gold medalists. Let's go down to Bonnie Bernstein.
Well, Vern, Team USA has now won 5 of the 6 times this event's taken place. Brian Boitano's been around for every single one of them. Where does this one rank?
I think this night was really exciting. I think the U.S. team really rallied. We had our rallying caps on. Yeah, our rallying glasses on, and we rocked. We really fought our way.
Kristi, at what point in your routine did you realize, okay, it's smooth sailing from here on out?
Not really until the last jump was done. I knew, you know, that it was just really close with the points and that every single movement counted toward the final score. So I enjoyed the whole performance, but it wasn't until the last one where I was like, phew.
Okay, thank you everyone and congratulations, and Vernon Scott will send it back up to you.
All right, Bonnie, once again, Team USA comes from behind to defeat Team World. The final score, 784.4 to 781.9. Coming up tomorrow, the NFL on CBS. We begin at 12 Eastern with the NFL Today, and then a doubleheader. In the early game, most of you will see either New England Buffalo or San Diego, Minnesota. That's followed by the New York Jets at Indianapolis or Kansas City, Oakland. Thrilling victory for Tara Lipinski and the United States team. They come from behind to win it. For Bonnie Bernstein and Scott Hamilton, I'm Vern Lundquist saying good night from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.